Do you want to know the main topics of philosophical anthropology? You can learn it with us. Human freedom is the capacity to choose between various options without any external force. We have two types. Internal freedom. This freedom depends on oneself, no matter how conditioned it is. And external freedom, that depends on the society. We can have external freedom without having external freedom. For example, a person in jail has limited external freedom, but he has internal freedom. Nelson Mandela is an excellent example of someone that was private of his external freedom, but he never lost his freedom of thought to oppose racial segregation. The problem with the freedom is his own existence. The determinists deny the existence of human freedom, and the indeterminists affirm that human being is free. Our actions are conditioned by some factors like education, economy. Existentialism is a radical indeterminist current that defends the idea that a birth of each of us is equipped only with freedom, and we can stop being free. With each decision we take, we build ourselves, so we build our own essence. Human freedom is very unique to responsibility. If we are free to choose to do or not to do something, we are responsible for that which we do or don't do. The responsibility is the obligation to accept the consequences of our actions or lack of action, like being responsible in our works, in the school. The determinists, as they deny the existence of human freedom, they cannot hold human beings responsible for their actions. And the indeterminists, they can hold human beings responsible for their actions because they consider them to be free agents. The problem is that they have to determine when are responsible, when we have plain consequence, and when we are not responsible, when we have unforeseen consequences.
The human culture and the symbolic universe. The language, the myths, the religion, or the art are symbol system. They are representation of reality through the relationship of a thing and its meaning. A human-made symbol system is the culture. And an analysis of this culture caused the structuralism. This is a philosophical current of the century 20. Everything that the human being says, does, think, or feel is supposed by hidden common rules. The structuralists for common feature in the different language, religion, art of group of humans who have never been in contact. For the structuralist, the definition of the human of the existentialist is fictition. Now, the human explication is held by those structures that generate social and the culture reality.
The relationship between the brain and the mind. There have been some debates between the terms of brain and the term of mind for many years. When we are talking about the brain, we talk about the central organ of our nervous system, but our mind is an abstract entity where our consciousness and our thought resides. For example, the capacity that our brain could do. So sometimes it is affected when an area of our brain doesn't work as it would have to work. But there isn't a real connection between these two terms. So philosophers have to think about these questions and creating some theories like dualism, which said that humans have a material part and immaterial part, monism, which is materialistic, and others like functionalism and emergentism.
The concept of person. One of the terms we frequently use when we refer to human beings is person. Although it is not easy to define this concept, we can identify some of its most relevant characteristics. Dignity. A person should never be treated as a means to an end which is not of their own. Freedom. It's a fundamental value of person, which we can build our own personality. Historicity. A person is a spirit incarnate in a body, living at a specific moment in history. Community. A person communicates with others and shares with them an existence that can only be authentic of oriented thousand transcendence. Personalism is a philosophical current led by the French thinker Emmanuel Mundier. It's opposed to individualism, existentialism, and the dissolution of the individual proposed by structuralism. Mundier distinguishes three dimensions. First, incarnation. The person is linked in a body. Second, vocation. The person is oriented to transcendence. And communion, the union between people.
Awareness of death. Death is the loss of the characteristic which constitute life. Death is inevitable. Humans are the only animals that are aware of their own death. The awareness gives humans a meaning to our existence. Death is universal. This process eventually occurs in all living organisms. Regarding life, there are two perceptions: a false existence, forgetting that it is finite and considering it to be a permanent reality, or to live an authentic existence with an awareness of the limitation of time and the urgency that comes from trying to finish one's life project before time runs out. We find two approaches: the death is an end for our existence and everything that comes with it finishes too, and the other approach is that death is not the end but there is something waiting for us.